welcome. Here's Christine and Jim Morningstar, and we're here at the Global Inspiration Conference at Joshua Tree Park, which is really beautiful, actually, from the land. And my name is Christine May. I'm from Germany. I'm a global prana flow yoga teacher, trainer, and embodiment and breath coach. And I'm so happy and really grateful to be here with Jim Morningstar, who is an amazing, gifted teacher. And I would love, and I was just at a workshop actually, which was beautiful. And I would love you to introduce yourself and your work and yes, a bit of your path.
Okay. Again, I'm Jim Morningstar. I'm the director of the Transformations Breathwork Training Program and the innovator of therapeutic breathwork. Throughout my life, I've felt called to help and work with people, and breathwork has been the most incisive tool for cutting down to what primal patterns are in people and helping them release without years and years of therapy, ongoing work that is kept on the verbal level and on the conscious level, where, as we understand now, most of trauma and holding patterns are on an unconscious level and work more with the right brain than they do with the logical, rational left brain. And so the breath work was a natural progression for me. Having my training was as a clinical psychologist. So I was trained in traditional talk therapy, but then I discovered there was body-oriented therapy, and that really hit the button for me. I played a lot of sports and things as a child, and we weren't very expressive emotionally in our family, so most of it came through body movement. And when I found breath work being a tool that allowed movement, allowed expression, and went to that part of me which my mind couldn't deny or talk me out of, so to speak, I thought, this is a tool I not only want to use for myself, but I want to share with others.
Yes. So basically you have a regular practice and you're also teaching what you practice in a way. Or
Yes.
is that two completely different things, would you say?
I have a personal practice. I do breath work, formally, breathing techniques morning and evening, but then also breath awareness during the day.
Yes.
I find it's like a biofeedback mechanism without the wires. It tells me exactly where I'm at. If I'm breathing, if I'm not breathing, is a true indicator of how relaxed I am, how alert and, let's say, centered.
Yes.
I also then see clients as a therapist and find that when I combine breath work with traditional counseling, the effectiveness and the time spent is totally different than when we're just doing verbal work.
Yeah.
I also began a School of Integrative Psychology, because people wanted to learn not just about breath work, but learn about life change. Learn not just techniques which were therapeutic and releasing, but then how to create a lifestyle which built confidence in their sense of abundance, their sense of safety, their sense of harmony with life. And I did that for 33 years. And then I retired from the full-time teaching in the school, but now have all of those courses online. So we now have technology which allows us to pass on some of the things that were done in the past. I still am very much involved in breathwork training. This is training breath workers to work in the field of counseling and various kinds of physical therapies, medicine, there's dentists, there's all sorts of people that use awareness and how to coach people in their breathing that makes their practice a lot more effective when people are relaxed when they're getting a medical procedure, even dental work, and they're much more aware and able to coach or to tell the practitioner what they need. They're not just a passive recipient.
Yeah. So, and you use mostly, is it mostly the conscious connected breath? Or, I mean, I saw today you use a lot of different tools, of course, but could you speak a little bit about what kind of breath you use and you know, what's kind of the texture of the tools you use, of course, in a, you know.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I believe in having a whole repertoire of breath, all the way from breath awareness, slower than normal breathing, such as mindfulness, coherent, but then also the faster than normal breathing, which engages the sympathetic nervous system. It's done very judiciously, in a boundaried way, to help people activate the sympathetic nervous system, which is where the beginnings of trauma started. That they went into fight or flight, but weren't able to accomplish either, so they went into freeze. And then their memories of this are out of consciousness. It's called implicit only memory. But they can get easily triggered by any stimulus that reminds them of the original trauma. Now, trauma is not something that happens to a person. Trauma is the person's nervous system's reaction to an event. And so the same thing could happen to different people. But one person's nervous system would be highly sensitive or maybe predisposed towards trauma because of early childhood experiences, and therefore they were overwhelmed. And when they're overwhelmed, they go into a holding or a freeze response. Now, we all have elements of this. So this isn't just war veterans or people who had severe abuse. We all have it in more minor degrees, but sometimes that's more insidious. In such that we can't say, oh, A, B, C, or D happened to me, and therefore it's easy to explain why I have difficulty being in public or making friends or holding a job. So the more subtle type of traumas are equally as important, but sometimes more challenging to get to. So I believe having a full range of breath awareness, slower than breathing and faster than breathing, and then understanding and reading people's body themes. And that was our workshop this afternoon. So we looked at each developmental stage presents a different decision. Am I safe? Is there enough for me? Am I in harmony with others? Am I free to express my feelings? Am I safe expressing myself as a male or female? Can I have long-term intimacy in my life? Each of those decisions were breathed into. Each of those decisions, if there was an element in our life that was overwhelming around it, the patterns develop and they become, well, that's just normal for me. But perhaps to my mate, it's not so normal. And I'm having difficulty, or to my boss, or to my children. And so it takes courage, though, for one to go back, not to diagnose or call himself as sick or abnormal, but just to say, I'm human, and there are things that I would like to improve. Maybe enjoy my life more. Maybe have more heart-to-heart relationships with people.
So what, if you would say, I'm sure there's many things that changed since you do this work since a long time, and you practice since a long time, probably quite diligently, but if you could say one or two small things for everyday life that changed in your life since you do this, that maybe you would say have quite an impact on the quality of your life.
Absolutely. Well, number one is just being in the present, because if you're aware of your breathing, it brings you much more here, right now, rather than in your mind thinking about the future or in your feelings, thinking about the past. But also, as I mentioned in our training, to do some breath practice in the morning kind of centers me. And so the day becomes more informed by my priorities rather than by my fears, which say, oh, if I don't get everything done and respond to everything that's thrown at me, I'm not going to be loved. I'm not going to be adequate. I'm not going to hold a job. And so that time in the morning when I breathe and get centered helps me with my priorities, helps me be a lot more efficient, and also enjoy it a lot more.
Yeah. So do you have a practice where you say every morning I do
Yes.
the same? Yes, you do. Okay, and that's because that is a practice that just works for you.
But that changes over the years.
Yes.
So I did a regular practice that involved certain yoga positions and things, but then that changed. I always stay current as to what is right for my body right now. Our bodies do change.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And I think that's actually great to go with what changes because that means being present to where we are in this moment. And I know there's, of course, now more and more opportunities for people to study and to learn, but for the people listening, basically, could you say if somebody would love to start a regular or even daily practice, what would be a few recommendations, or maybe one breath where you say, or maybe breath awareness, or what would it be that you would give as a possibility for starting a regular practice?
Well, this is very simple. Of course, there's meditation and all that, which all is great.
Yeah.
But in terms of in your pocket thing that you could use, I like to do what I call the circular breath. And for example, right now, if you were to go inside and focus on, say, light energy, a ball of light energy at the base of your spine, and then as you inhale, imagine bringing that energy up the back of your spine to the top of your head as you inhale, and then down the front of your body as you exhale, going back to the base of your spine. So you just keep that going for a moment, inhaling up the back,
and it doesn't matter
exhaling
mouth
down the
or
front.
nose.
No, I would say nose probably would be good. Yeah, it's a parasympathetic breathing. Now, that in and of itself can be done anywhere at any time. You have your eyes open, your eyes closed. Then, to add to that, as we did in our workshop, you can breathe into your heart area, which is kind of like the center. This up the back and down the front creates a cocoon of light energy. It's your safe place, as it were, your sanctuary. Then you can breathe into the heart, and you can invite guests, as it were, in your imagination into that. It may be someone who's passed, like a grandmother that you love very much. It could be something that's very popular, and I use a lot of, an image or a felt sense of yourself as a child, the inner child. Or it could be a spiritual figure, someone that means a lot to you as a guide or guidance. And in that safety and sanctuary, it opens up what I call the third ear. It allows us to listen a little more carefully because we've quieted the world. We just set it outside. Could be 30 seconds, could be 3 minutes, could be half an hour, depending on what your availability for time is. But you can get an inner dialogue going. And all of this can help you with a sense of, I am steering, I have my hands on the steering wheel of my life, rather than it's the needs of the children, or the family, or the boss, or the clients, or whatever.
What's important for me.
Right.
Yeah.
And this isn't about selfishness. This is not about the me. No, because the true larger me is inclusive. So for example, this morning when I was doing my little breathing exercise, I didn't know that I was going to be talking to you, but I put a generic thing down that I'd meet just the right people at this conference who are like-spirited, and that we would collaborate in a way that would be for our benefit and for the benefit of humanity. So then I'm not surprised when things like this happen.
Yeah, exactly. Let's do it. So that leads to the next question. What would you say, what or who are you inspired by at this time in your life?
Well, inspiration more and more comes from all around me and whoever I happen to be with at the time. It's what I call a sense of holy vision, because this could look like just an accident, but more and more I start to learn from whomever I'm with. And even the formal practice I do of Tai Chi, and this may sound way out for you, but my apartment here at the Global Inspiration Conference is just a few feet away from us, and we have a patio. And on the patio, I do my practice of Tai Chi. And I've been doing it there now for the past 4 days, and I've developed a relationship with the trees and the bushes.
Oh, beautiful.
that are right there.
Yeah.
And I'm doing Tai Chi, a slow movement, and they're moving in the breeze, and so even plants and the little rabbit that runs around outside there.
I love that, because what is really funny, I had an interview today with Andrew, and he talks also a lot about communication with the land and the earth and the trees, and that really it's a cycle of communicating, and we are all one in a way, and if we start seeing that again and building connections, and that's kind of, in a way, it's exactly what you're saying, that it's this connection to everything in a way.
Exactly. And when there's a human connection, that has a real nice... Now, for example, we had a conversation before we started our interview, and I asked you how this came about for you, and you said you were working with Anthony Avignano.
Yes.
I just met him in person here, and we made a lovely connection.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Found
he will probably watch that video as well.
And I found the work that he does is so similar, it felt to me like I was looking in a mirror.
Oh, beautiful. Wow.
He does a lot of very deep inner child work.
Yes.
I have used it every week for the last 40 years with myself and with clients.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yes.
And I didn't even know that part. Yeah.
No, absolutely. But that's what I think happens as we are in our breath and we center ourselves, is we tend then to magnetize, to bring to us other people with a like vibration, people with similarities, and also feel comfortable with people with all sorts of paths.
Yeah, exactly.
So there isn't the us versus them that goes on. I'm finding the us with all humanity, with plants, with the animals, with nature.
Yeah. And yet
that
there
is
is
what's
these
changed my
special
life.
connections as well. Yeah, I completely get it. I think I completely seem to
you do.
Yeah,
you do.
I understand. Yeah, that's beautiful. So, what you think is this breathwork and the work you do and all the beautiful people here actually at the conference are how can that help the world or the development of people or the peace or the connection?
Right.
What do you think it
breath is the universal language. If you're a human being, you're breathing. And how we're breathing can tell us whether we're in a state of panic, terror, whether we're relaxed, whether we're resourceful, whether we're comatose. And so breath is our way to speak to others with heart, with humanity. And there are some people here that are working with disaster relief. People who have been in a tsunami, or people that have been in slavery, and their body is frozen, traumatized. With very simple, direct breathing techniques, they can once again feel their humanity, feel alive again. Now, it doesn't solve all the problems,
course,
but
yeah.
it makes them more resourceful.
Yeah.
And it's a bridge.
Yeah.
It is a bridge back to their sense of being worthy, and a sense of a way that they can connect and start to get the help they need, but also recognizing that they can also help others around them. So it's a link.
Yeah.
Breath is a link.
Yeah.
Did you know that every time you exhale, there's 1 million particles that go out into the atmosphere around you as you exhale. As you inhale, you take in 1 million particles.
Yeah.
Now there's something that happens when those particles go into you. They go through our system. Yes, they're oxygenated and carbon dioxide and waste products come out. I like to think it's also we put our personal stamp on that, our love on it. So that particles that you're breathing out right now, within 7 days will be in China. They go around the world. We are breathing particles right now that some of the great sages and masters breathe. It truly is the universal language.
Yes. Yeah.
And if we can use breath to see through the judgments and the differences that we have and start to unify our world through breath. You asked me about different ways that I do it. At this stage of my life, I'm giving stuff away. So I have like 250 plus, 275 YouTube videos, which I just put out, and I figured this is my give back to the world.
Beautiful, yeah. I will be watching them.
Not all of them are on breathwork, they're on all phases of what it is to be human and to want to learn and grow.
Yeah.
The book, you asked about the book.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a Breakthrough with Breathwork, which North Atlantic published, which I wrote mostly for myself because I wanted to get it all down, and then said, okay, other people may be interested in this. So I'm using the breath to work with trauma, to read the body themes in the breath.
Yeah. That scared me a bit when because I was so glad when you said you don't tell people what body type they are, because it's kind of like, okay, I'm sitting on the bench with you and you know exactly, it's like this idea of like you see through and know it all. But of course, there's some hidden parts and some obvious parts, I'm sure.
The tool that I use called Holy Vision is that we can see each other's personality.
Yeah.
We can see whatever clothes we put on, as it were, but we also see beyond that. And we see the spirit that is there. And if we can have compassion for both, we got it made. And we're in a different world.
Yeah, beautiful. And what I notice here at the conference is actually, I feel there is no judgment. That's my feeling here, that there is quite an open view. I felt very welcome. I felt people were very connected. It felt like you could sit at any table for lunch or dinner. It never felt awkward or unwelcome. And I always feel this is a beautiful sign if there's not this feeling of like, I don't belong there, I don't belong there. But here's a feeling like, you can just sit anywhere. And they welcome me. That was
so we're trying to create an atmosphere of greater acceptance. And of course, we haven't built Shangri-La or the perfect world.
Of course.
But we're approaching that. And the idea isn't, again, that it's just us, people who are interested in breath work. No, this is our families. If it's not taking back to the family, our community, and our world, we're just creating another sect or a cult or something that separates people.
So maybe the final question is, where can they find you, your website, maybe again your book, maybe a project you want to talk about, or the cheek, or anything that, the YouTube channel, that's really helpful. That's Jim Morningstar.
Just Jim Morningstar.
Perfect.
And you could probably find our website through that. It's transformationsusa.com.
All together?
All together.
Okay, transformationsusa.com.
And if you wanted to email me, you just put a Jim at in the beginning of
Oh,
that.
beautiful. Okay. At transformationsusa.com. And then again, the book, that's Breakthrough with Breathwork.
Yes.
And of course, Jim Morningstar. So you can find that probably on Amazon or
Amazon or
Yes.
North Atlantic Publishers.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, anything else you want to
Well,
let people know about?
just that this is delightful. I am so honored to be invited to share the best of what I know, because I know that then other people are going to get to share the best of what they know with me.
Yes, yes.
And I just acknowledge you for being on this path and doing this work.
Thank you so much. And yeah, I love your work, the little bit that I saw today, that I heard of actually from many people on this conference. And thank you so much for being this role model and giving everything out to the people. And I hope to be able to study much more with you. So yes, find him. He's really one of the people that knows so much about breathwork, and not just knows, but really experiences and practices. I think that's the most important part. So thank you so much. Everything's falling. And the bench survived.